Oh my gosh, Japan is not alone in this. And if you want to know what we're talking about, I hope that you watched our last two videos because the Japanese are about tired of the American dollar. And they may not come out and say it the way a Russia or a Mexico or a whoever would because they're not that dramatic. But if you quietly look at their actions, the Japanese are saying, you know what, I think this is enough, but this isn't even the worst part. The dumping of the US government bonds at the biggest rates that we've ever seen in world history. We have been discussing how the dollar is declining faster than you can imagine. Gold is at $5,600. Silver is at unprecedented rates. And you have to ask yourself, what does this mean for the global economy? Now, some people think President Trump is doing this on purpose. Some people think he's going to make America great again. Some people think that everything is fine in America because the S&P 500 just hit 7,000 and this and that. But I'm here to tell you today, there are other countries that are dropping US government bonds at unprecedented rates. Stay tuned because we need to talk about what it means for you as an expat, what it means for you as an entrepreneur, what it means for you as a retiree, or what it just means for you as someone that actually likes to read books, think critically, and to make their own assumptions about the globe.
Yes, guys. So make sure you like the video, leave your comments below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because I feel like every day we do a video now and we talk about gold, right?
Have to.
It's at a new price. So I'm pretty sure, I'm actually going to check our video out that we did last week when we was talking about gold and see what price we said.
It was at.
Yeah, I want to say it was maybe like 4,000, to be honest, 4,800, possibly 5,000. But
it wasn't at 5,000.
That is a clear sign that you really need to start paying attention. A lot of countries, a lot of economies do not want to hold U.S. debt. And that's basically what it is. They are holding assets that's going to appreciate, like gold, assets like silver that's going to appreciate. It's not, they're not trusting the U.S. dollar anymore. They're understanding that the U.S. dollar is debt. They're not going to hold debt. It's point blank period. It's really that serious. These are countries, these are economies that's saying no more, no more.
Whew, yeah, they're saying no more. And you can't blame them because you have to take it from their stance and empathize with the fact that America used to be the global dominant superpower. But we often talk about that ex-CIA spy who has a YouTube channel. His name is Andrew Bustamante. He went to the EU with another ex-spy. I don't know how the CIA is doing this, but I don't know if they're doing it like strategically. But anyway, I listened to the meeting. It was about 2 hours long with our oldest son. And it was so interesting because they were advising the European Union to basically detach from America, but they didn't say it in such a rude or crude way that would make it so obvious. They said, you guys don't have your own Facebook, you don't have your own Twitter, you don't have your own tech companies, you are too dependent on Americans for everything. Pointing out that they don't even have security systems that are adequate in the European Union, just pointing out how lackluster the European Union is. And I thought that was so interesting because these other countries are looking at whatever they have. It could be gold, it could be silver. For example, I saw a headline, Tanzania actually, since their currency is declining so quickly, unlike the South African rand that's appreciating against the dollar, the actual Tanzanian shilling is decreasing against the dollar. Two totally separate stories going in opposite directions. They said they're going to start selling their gold reserves. This is the time where gold increases across the globe because governments and institutions are reassessing exposure to the US dollar dominated assets. This is going to include exposure to being overly reliant on American tech systems as well. This is all included together. As an entrepreneur, I love going over stuff like this. And so you have to think, the Facebooks, the Netflix, all of these companies, the Nvidias that are historically the Magnificent Seven, Europeans are starting to divest. Africans down here, they're starting to divest, although PayPal just made a deal with Nigeria, trying to get back into Nigeria. Nigeria's a little split on that. Half the Nigerians want it, half don't, because they feel like it's too little too late. So we'll see where that goes. And simultaneously, Japan saying, over the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to dump this. We're not going to shock you too hard. We don't want to just hurt your currency and demolish your economy. We are allies in that sense of the word. But still, over the next 12 to 18 months, they're saying they're literally going like this, shaving it off the US dollar government bonds in favor of what? Probably gold. And these moves do not always make headlines, but they form patterns, and patterns matter far more than single events. This is why we come to you daily, because it's not just about one shocking news headline. It's not just one thing. This is the compound effect of the American decline seen across the globe. And they touch these daily realities: income, healthcare, banking access, and long-term stability across the globe, which is why this matters so much to you as an expat, as an entrepreneur, or as someone that wants to be an expat, wants to be better with their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. It just really comes down to this side of the world and that side of the world. As you guys can see, what U.S. President Donald Trump is doing, he wants to, have Canada be America. He wants Greenland, or half of Greenland, I guess I would say now, to be American. Mexico, Venezuela. So you got to see the bigger picture. He still wants to make America great again, because that's his word. What is happening right now, it might be on purpose. He might be dumping the dollar for a reason. So you got to see the bigger picture with that. You got to understand how expensive, or I guess I can say what the dollar was, and now it's starting to be cheaper. So, and in some of these countries that's outside of America where the currency was cheaper, or it
had less value than the dollar.
It was
way
weaker
less.
than less value. Now, since the dollar is weaker and lower, are these countries going to step up and start trying to get involved with the American products and the economy? That's something that you got to really got to pay attention to, because there's still countries out here that is still probably going to do relationships and trading relationships with America, because they feel like they need America. So our advice is going to be that side of the world or this side of the world. Which side of the world do you mostly, how can I put it? Which side of the world do you agree with, to be honest? Because it's coming down to that. It's going to come down to trade and everything like that. Just how she was saying, banking, the economies around the trades that needs to be done. Really, the farming, the agriculture, the real estate, everything.
Yes. As you said that, you also made me think about the fact, I don't know if you heard this. I saw, my Instagram algorithm. I just love the algorithm that I have, because I don't see nonsense. What I see on my algorithm on Instagram: business, finance, and mobility, geography type of stuff. And so I got an alert, actually, that Saudi Arabia isn't allowing foreigners to hold farmland in Saudi Arabia for the first time. Now, this is really interesting, because historically in Africa, they technically, unless you're in South Africa, a Seychelles, a Mauritius, you're usually not going to be able to outright own the land. You're usually doing a leasehold, a 99-year leasehold. But Saudi Arabia is opening up, saying they want foreigners to come to purchase farmland in Saudi Arabia. I thought that was interesting. That's what you made me think about. But let's get back to the topic, because historically, these periods of reorientation are when people who plan early preserve the most flexibility. Look, we have been talking about gold. You can just see that in the last 2 weeks. If you would have prepared early by getting into the gold market, you would reap the benefits today and be set up to continue reaping the benefits on autopilot while the world is in chaos and famine, literally the book of Psalms says his people will eat in a famine. And it's not just that it's manna from the sky, but it's also he's giving people divine strategy and the wisdom and perseverance and the fruits of the spirit, self-control, to be able to invest where they need to invest. This is why you'll see in Deuteronomy 28 above verse 14, you will see that it says our storehouses are full, our barns are plentiful. What does that mean in modern times? That's talking about your savings. That's talking about what you have liquidated. That's talking about the decisions that you need to make beforehand as you're keeping his rules and his commands, okay? And this is where global mobility becomes less about adventure and more about stewardship. This is where we enter the mature adult intensive. I want to talk to you about the core tenets of global mobility that we cover over 4 weeks. Number 1, currency alignment. We are seeing how the US dollar crashing is going to impact Americans in America the absolute worst. Why? Because it's going to be like Revelations. I think the verse actually says something along the lines of a diner or a certain shilling or a certain currency
bread is going to cost
for an amount of bread, signaling, hey, the price of food itself is going to increase in Babylon, not necessarily the entire world, because you as an American expat, you still have an advantage if you're a first mover that has a business, takes the profits from that business, invest those profits into gold and silver and things that actually have real-time value.
Yeah, that's good, because that's what a lot of people are starting to understand. You can put your US dollar into savings, right? But it's gonna decrease the next day. You have to put your savings into an asset that is going to appreciate. It's that simple. It's that simple. And this is what we go over in the mature adult intensive. This is the talks that we have. So this is why we always talk about this, because people need to realize you need to have this access. You need to have this community around you that understand what is going on. Because it's happening right now in real time. It's not time to think that, no, get the advice with the people that's actually doing it, with the people that's actually stepping and moving abroad. Like, really, if that's something that you want to do, this is for you.
Yeah, and I love how we backed it with curriculum, because that's so important as well, to not only have the live videos that you're doing in the group, but also week by week, you're actually going over the curriculum to understand the moves that you need to make before you ever exit America. And our number 2 tenet that we cover in week 2, residency as infrastructure. You need to think, I can't say this enough, because too many times the issue that we see, and this is coming from 2 married people who have lived in Africa for about 6 years now and had 6 children abroad. We're about to give birth, half of our children were born abroad. We're about to give birth to our 6th child. So we have dealt with healthcare, we've dealt with residency, we've dealt with risk factors, we've dealt and seen where the best reward for your time, because it's not just about where you get the most bang for your buck. That's not the only thing. It's also, where does residency fit in as infrastructure? Because you don't just want a visa that's good for 90 days and that's it. And then you're like, well, what now? You need to pay attention to access. Do you have access to the healthcare system? Do you have access to banking and legal protections? Do you have continuity of stay over the next 10 to 20 years? This is the type of thinking that's required in a world famine and in world war. This is the jurisdiction that gives you the most clarity, stability, and long-term optionality, not temporary fixes.
Yeah, it's no more bang for your buck. That's what I was gonna say. Like, it's gonna have to be a little. It's gonna have to change now. The buck, the dollar is decreasing, guys. It's getting weak. So it's not. Look, I know if you're not used to traveling to a weaker currency, right? This still might be okay for you because you're not used to it. But if you are here as an expat and you've been here for years, and you start to see that your dollar is getting weaker and weaker against these currencies, you'd be like, oh man, last week I just spent like $2 for this, but now it's $2.90 that I have to spend it, right? But for somebody that's freshly coming out of America and coming to a weaker currency or a weaker currency, you might not notice it as much. But that's something that we go over. Like it's really getting that serious.
Yeah, absolutely. And numbers 3 and 4, healthcare predictability combined with the cost of living control, because these two go hand in hand for expats and retirees. Healthcare is the deciding factor, okay? And we're people, we don't get sick often, we're pretty young, but when you're pregnant or when you have whatever new thing is popping up in your family, in your life, you want the healthcare to be sound so that you're not booting it back to America every 2 seconds. You're not booting it across the world to whoever's town every 2 seconds. You want to ensure that you are in a country with accessible, affordable, high quality health care. This gives you the peace of mind that speculative returns can never give you, which leads us into the cost of living control. Global mobility allows individuals to decouple their quality of life from fixed high costs. This is probably one of my favorite things, okay? That you can live in luxury and live a life where you have a villa with a pool, or you're living life and your rent is only $1,000, $1,300 for a 5-6 bedroom house, for a 4-bedroom house. Your internet bill is only $19 for unlimited internet, and you are living the good life outside of America. People also go to countries and cities like Bali, Indonesia for this. They're known for that. Thailand's known for that. But there's countries and cities within Africa who also compete on that same level. Not most of the countries, but there are a couple of them that do. And then lastly, we talk optionality, because access and optionality is the name of the game in World War III. If you can have access and options into the territory you're going to, well, you're going to be very happy in World War III. You're just going to be praising Yah, living your best life, eating some butter and honey, and living the good life, okay? And this is something that's really overlooked for most expats that are new. This is the ability to adapt to the systems that are already in place as conditions change. And when these global systems continue to shift, especially when we're talking geopolitics, World War, Iran, because America has a huge naval fleet off the coast of Iran right this second, you want to know what your second and third options are. You want to have them already laid out in events of crisis.
Yeah, and talking about the Iran, I'm not sure if you guys heard, but I know we was talking about Saudi Arabia earlier, and I believe Saudi Arabia is teaming up with Iran. So I know
Saudi Arabia?
Yeah,
they're a U.S. ally.
Yeah, they just did that border peace with Donald Trump and stuff, and this is happening. Like that's why I keep saying it's going to be that side of the world or this side of the world. Like it's really coming down to that, because they understand, like, why would I trade with someone just so far away? That means that my oil tanker is probably going to get snatched up or something, or my containers ship is going to get snatched up or something, or it's really that serious. It's getting down to that, especially in war. Is this side of the world or that side of the world? It's coming down to that.
That's crazy. It is what it is. Like you said, you got to choose a side. You already know the side we choose over the last 6 years, and will continue to for the next 10 to 15, 20 years. It's going to be this side of the globe. And I'm just thankful that we were obedient in the proper time. I think obedience also has a window. Delayed obedience isn't considered obedience. It's considered disobedience. So not doing what you were supposed to be doing months and years ago, that that you were called to do, that you kept receiving messages, that you were looking into the research, but then you delayed it, that falls into the line of disobedience. And the world that we're in, the disobedient are going to be caught slipping. It's the type of thing where you just miss out in the next week. You just miss out in the next 14 days. And that can cost you in this economy. That can cost you in World War III. That can cost you a network. It can cost you friends, it can cost you resources, or if it's that serious, depending on what it is, it could cost you your very own salvation. So just be ready to be wise, be smart, have counsel, and move, because the blessed, they are prepared. Proverbs says it.
Yeah.
A wise man foresees danger and moves himself out of the way.
Yep.
Not prays for 900 days, not sits back and chills and says, I'm just going to wait. Moves himself. Proverbs. Y'all should go study Proverbs all day today.
Yeah.
Moves himself out of the way.
I'll say hallelujah, because I just sent that message in my Telegram group.
Did you really?
Yes.
Wow.
Like a wise man.
Wow, we're in alignment.
Sees danger. And he's not just about to sit there.
We're in alignment. Wow. Praise God.
It's not dangerous coming.
We didn't plan that, y'all.
Yeah.
We did not plan that moment just now.
Yeah, like for real. So I believe that's good. Let's end on that. All praises to the Most High. Make sure you like the video. Leave your comments below. Check the links in the description. The Mature Adult Intensive is going to be packed out pretty soon. I believe we have 2 slots available, but someone just emailed us saying that they are interested. So if this is something that you are thinking about doing and you want to check out, the link will be in the description. www.journeywithusmovetoafrica.com/services. Check it out, and we will talk to you guys in the next one. Shalom.
Shalom. Buy some gold today.
Yeah, right now.